Good morning, students. Myself, Pharmacy, Suresh Gyan Bihar University, Jaipur. In Physical Pharmaceutics second course lecture series, the topic of today's lecture is course dispersions. So, in course dispersions, we have to start from the suspensions. So there are two important topics in course dispersions. One is suspensions and other is emulsions. So in today's topic, first we have to cover these learning objectives to study about the course dispersion. Then what is suspension? Then its classification, desired features in pharmaceutical suspensions. Then theory of sedimentation, factors affecting sedimentation of flocculated particles, and then we have to discuss about the interfacial properties of suspended particles. So these are our learning outcomes. So after completion of today's lecture, the student will be able to know all these things like what is force dispersion, what is suspension, how the suspension is classified, and what are the desired features in pharmaceutical suspensions, what is theory of sedimentation, and based on the theory of sedimentation, the student will be know about the factors affecting sedimentation, then interfacial properties of suspended particles and settling in suspensions. So pharmaceutical suspension, it is a very widely used dosage form, and many of the drug formulations are available in the suspension form. So let us see what is pharmaceutical suspensions. So the contents of our today's presentation. First, we have to define suspensions, dispersion systems, and force dispersions. Then we have to discuss about the classification, advantages and disadvantages of suspensions, then applications of suspensions, and then we have to discuss about the theoretical considerations regarding the suspensions, like the sedimentation, Brownian movement, electrokinetic properties, etc. Then we have to discuss about the formulation of suspensions, packing of suspensions, and storage requirement and labeling of suspension dosage form, evolution of suspensions, then resolution study of suspension, and what are the recent advancement in suspension. So chapter is divided into two parts. In today's lecture, first we have to cover the first part of suspension, and then we will continue in second part. So first of all, before starting the suspension, we have to know about what is disperse system. So disperse system is very common term which is widely used to determine, to describe the suspensions, emulsions, different type of colloidal dispersions, etc. So when we go through the definition of suspensions or dispersion system first, so dispersion system refers to a system in which one substance like the dispersed phase is distributed in discrete units throughout a second substance which is known as the continuous phase. So dispersed system is made by two phases. One is known as dispersed phase and another one is known as continuous phase. Dispersed phase is already known as internal phase, and the continuous phase is also known as external phase. So internal phase and external phase both are of the important part of dispersion system. So dispersed phase materials are distributed throughout the continuous phase, and continuous phase may be a solvent or maybe a liquid or maybe a base. In case of semi-solid dosage form, it is known as base. In case of liquid dosage form, it may be a vehicle or solvent. So dispersed phase refers to a system where the dispersed phase is distributed throughout the second phase, which is known as continuous phase. In each phase can exist in either solid form, liquid form, or gaseous state. Suspensions are heterogeneous system consisting of two phases is the dispersion system. So we can classify our suspension in a dispersion as a dispersion system. So a solid in liquid dispersion in which the particles are of colloidal size. So dispersed system, there are two phases. One is the dispersed medium and another one is the dispersed phase. So dispersion medium is made by aqueous or oily liquid in case of suspension, and in case of suspension dispersed phase is made by insoluble solids. So we can again define the suspension as a dispersion system where the solid is distributed or dispersed in a liquid dispersion where the particles are of the colloidal size or maybe in the pore size range. So dispersion system is exemplified or it can be easily explained with the example of suspension. Now, when we go through the dispersion systems classification, there are three classes of dispersion system. One is known as molecular dispersion, second one is known as colloidal dispersion, and next one is known as force dispersion. So, according to the particle size which are present in the dispersion system, they may be molecular dispersion, colloidal dispersions, or maybe force dispersion. So, in case of force dispersion, the particle size are greater than the colloidal and molecular dispersion. In molecular dispersion, where the particle size is very less, it may be of the molecular level or it may be less than nanometers. But in case of force dispersion, which is known as heterogeneous dispersion system, in which the dispersed phase particles are larger than 1000 nanometer. The particle size of colloidal dispersion is intermediate between the force dispersions and molecular dispersion. So the particle size is largest in case of force dispersion. Force dispersions are characterized by relatively fast sedimentation of the dispersed phase by which is caused by the gravitational force or by gravity or other forces. So this is the characteristic feature of force dispersion. The sedimentation is very important and it can be seen in case of force dispersion which may occur, which may cause by the gravitational force as well as the other type of forces. Now, when we go through the suspension, we can define suspension as a force dispersion or maybe defined as a system in which internal phase is dispersed uniformly throughout the external phase. An internal phase, which is known as dispersed phase, is made by therapeutically active ingredient. Generally, in case of suspension, it is made by solid particles, which is distribute or dispersed uniformly throughout the external phase, which is made by solvent like liquid in aqueous in nature or maybe non-aqueous in nature. So, in case of pharmaceutical suspension, it is defined as a force dispersion in which internal phase therapeutically active ingredient is dispersed uniformly throughout the external phase. Internal phase consists of insoluble solid particles. In case of suspension, when we compare with the suspension and emulsion, both are the examples of force dispersion. But in case of suspension, the internal phase or dispersed phase is made by solid particles, whereas in emulsion, it is made by oil globules. So the internal phase consists of insoluble solid particles having a size range of 0.5 to 5 microns, which is maintained uniformly throughout the suspending vehicle with aid of single or combination of suspending agent. When we go through the formulation of suspension in detail, we will discuss about the what are the suspending agent and how it is helpful to formulate the particular type of suspension. So suspension consists of insoluble solid particles where the size range may be 0.5 to 5 micron. Depending on the route of administration, we can see the different particle size ranges available, and the solid particles are distributed throughout the suspending vehicle, maybe with the help of single or maybe combination of suspending agents. The external phase is made by liquid, maybe aqueous in nature or maybe non-aqueous in nature. So in case of suspension, the generally external phase, which is known as suspending medium, is generally aqueous in substance, maybe organic or oily liquid for non-oral use. The reasons for the formulation of a pharmaceutical suspension. So when the drug is insoluble in the delivery vehicle, the second one, what are the different reasons for formulation of suspension? To mask the bitter taste of the drug, to increase the drug stability, to achieve controlled and sustained drug release. So these are the different reasons why we have to formulate a suspension dosage form. So some of the important reasons are where if the drug is not soluble in our delivery vehicle, if we have to solubilize it, and we have to increase the bioavailability of the drug, because until and unless the drug is soluble, we cannot uh, find the good bioavailability of the drug. So if it is required that our drug is soluble in the delivery vehicle so that it can easily dissolve and it can easily enter into the systemic circulation and show its bioavailability. Then to mask the bitter taste of the drug, because many of the drugs having the bitter taste. So to mask this taste, we have to use the preparation or formulation or manufacturing of a pharmaceutical suspension in the drug to increase the drug stability. When we want to increase the drug stability, we have to formulate a pharmaceutical suspension. It may be a better choice to achieve the controlled or sustained drug release in novel drug delivery system or controlled drug delivery system, where the release pattern of the drug or rate of release can be controlled by the use of different approaches. So pharmaceutical suspension or formulation of suspension may be a good reason to achieve the controlled or sustained drug release. Now, when we go through the some pharmaceutical suspensions, examples are given here, like the antacid oral suspension. So most of the antacid preparations are available in the market through the oral suspensions. Then next example of pharmaceutical suspension which is available in the market, this is the antibacterial oral suspension. It can be used for the pediatric preparations as well as for the other adult preparations. Then dry powders for oral suspensions like antibiotics. So to enhance the stability of the drug, nowadays the suspensions are available as a dry powder suspension, where the powders can be constituted or the powder can be mixed with the particular solvent, and then it may be immediately prepare a suspension, and we can increase the stability of our suspension by the help of this dry powder suspension. So many of the antibiotics for the pediatric or for the children preparations are available in the form of dry powder oral suspension. Then analgesic oral suspension. So different type of analgesic preparations are also available in the oral suspension form. Then next example is antihelmintic oral suspension, anticonvulsant oral suspension, and then antifungal oral suspension. So these are the some of the examples of some marketed pharmaceutical suspensions. Now, when we go through the classification of suspension, there are so many parameters by which we can classify our pharmaceutical suspensions or simple suspension. So let us see different parameter which is useful to classify the suspension. So first one, based on general classes like oral suspension. Examples of oral suspensions which is widely used for pediatric preparations like paracetamol suspensions, antacid preparations, tetrachlorocycline hydrochloride suspension. So they are useful by the oral route. So it is classified as oral suspension. Then second one is the externally applied suspension, which can be applicable externally, like the calamine lotion. So lotions are used without friction. So it is useful to apply the external and useful as external applied preparation. Then next one is the parenteral suspension. So some of the suspensions can be useful with the help of intramuscular or intravenous injections like the procaine, penicillin G, insulin zinc suspension, etc. So these are the different examples of different classes of suspension which are based on the different routes like oral suspension, externally applied suspensions, or parenteral suspensions. So these are the general classes of suspension. Next parameter is based on the proportion of solid particles. So based on the what is the constitution or what is the proportion of solid particle which is present in the dispersed phase of suspension dosage form, we can again classify the suspension into two parts. One is the dilute suspension, the second one is the concentrated suspension. So in dilute suspension, where the solid content is 2 to 10% weight by volume, solid is present in the dilute suspension. Like the examples of these type of dilute suspensions are cortisone acetate, prednisolone acetate, etc. And in concentrated suspension, where the solid particles are more than the dilute suspension, the concentration of solid particles in the dispersed phase is more, like the 50% weight by volume solid is present in the concentrated suspension like zinc oxide suspension. So this is the classification of suspension which is based on the concentration or proportion of solid particles which are present in the suspension. Now, when we go through the another parameter like the based on electrokinetic nature of solid particles. So based on the electrokinetic properties of solid particles, we can classify our suspensions into two classes. One is the flocculated suspensions and next one is the deflocculated suspension. So flocculated suspensions and deflocculated suspensions are the classification which is based on the electrokinetic nature of solid particles. When we go through the flocculated suspension, there is the presence of flocks. So we have to know what is flocks. So flocks are the loose aggregation of the solid particles. They are bonded with the weak physical force like the van der Waals force. And if the solid particles are aggregated with the weak physical forces, they can aggregate and form the a group. It is known as flock, and the suspension will be known as flocculated suspension. And the stability point of view, when we go through the detail in our next part of our chapter, you can find it how the flocculated suspensions are stable than the deflocculated suspension. So based on the electrokinetic nature of the suspended particles or solid particles, we can classify the suspensions into two parts. One is the flocculated and another one is the deflocculated suspension. Now, when we go through the based on the size of solid particles, the colloidal suspension is one of the class where the particle size is less than 1 micron. So suspensions having particle size of suspended solids less than about 1 micron in size are called as colloidal suspension. So at the time of starting of this chapter, we discuss about the what are the different classes of dispersion. So one is known as colloidal dispersion, next one is the molecular dispersion, and next one is the force dispersion. So all are the classes are based on the particle size which is present in the dispersed phase. So if the particle size is less, it will be in the range of colloidal suspension. But if the particle size is more, it will be classified as force dispersion. So based on the size of particle, the colloidal suspensions and force suspensions can be differentiated. So in force dispersions, suspensions having particle size of greater than about 1 micron in diameter, and they are called as force dispersion. You can see the different examples in this PPT also. And when we go through the particle size in the range of nanometers or nanograms, so nano suspensions are available. So suspensions are the biphasic colloidal dispersions of nano-sized drug particles, which is stabilized by the help of surface active agents or surfactant. Size of drug particles in case of nano suspension is less than 1 nanometer. So based on the particle size, we can classify the suspensions. Either it may be in the form of colloidal suspension, or maybe in the form of core suspensions, or maybe classified as nano suspensions. Now, after the classification of suspension, whether it may be based on the route of existence, may be based on the proportion of solid content which is present in the dispersed phase, or may be classified on the basis of particle size which is present in the dispersed phase. Now, after classification of suspension system, we have to discuss about the what are the advantages and disadvantages of suspensions. So advantages are given in this slide. You can see here. There are so many advantages. Some of the important advantages are mentioned here. So when we go through the suspension, suspension can improve chemical stability of certain drug like the procaine, penicillin G. When we use the suspension dosage form for procaine, penicillin G, it enhances the chemical stability of this drug. Then when we go through the drug in suspensions exhibit higher rate of bioavailability. So bioavailability point of view, suspensions exhibit higher rate of bioavailability than other type of dosage forms. Like when we compare with the solution, suspension, capsule, compressed tablet, and coated tablet, we can see the rate of bioavailability in the sequence. So solution having the higher bioavailability, then suspension, the suspension having higher bioavailability than the capsule, compressed tablet, and coated tablets. Then duration and onset of action can be controlled with the help of suspension dosage form. So like the protamine zinc insulin suspension, we can control the duration of the action as well as the onset of action of this drug. So it is widely useful to formulate the controlled release dosage form with the help of this type of depot depressions of suspensions. Then next advantage is given here. Suspension can mask the unpleasant or bitter taste of the drug. So when the drug having the unpleasant or bitter taste, so it can be masked by the help of formulation of suspensions, and the example of drug which is given here, chloramphenicol. So there are so many advantages of the formulation of suspensions. Some of the examples are given here. Then after the discussion of advantages, next one is the disadvantages of suspension. So disadvantages means the limitations of the suspensions. So one is the physical stability, sedimentation, and compaction can cause the various problems. So because it is related with the aqueous solvents also, so it may also affect the physical stability of the drug. So physical stability, sedimentation, and compaction, it can cause the different problems which may be related with the formulation part, so it will be considered carefully. Then it is bulky sufficient and care must be taken during the handling and transport mechanism. So when we go through the handling and transport process, it may be considered the care or extensive care is required in case of liquid dosage form. Then it is difficult to formulate. So non like the when we compare with the solution system, it is more difficult to formulate, or which we required a third external component which is defined as a suspending agent to formulate a good suspension. Either it may be flocculating agent or deflocculating agent. Then uniform and accurate dose cannot be achieved unless the suspensions are baked in unit dosage form. So dose accuracy is one of the factor which affects or which show the limitations or disadvantage of suspension dosage form. So these are the some of the disadvantages of the suspensions or dosage form. Then beside the advantages and disadvantages, when we go through the marketed preparations, there are so many marketed preparations which are available in the suspension form, and especially for the pediatric purpose or pediatric preparations like the analgesic drugs or like the different antacid preparations, or there may be like the antibiotic preparations for the children. So there are so many preparations, especially for the children, which is not capable to swallow the tablets. So suspension dosage form can be widely useful for that type of persons. Now, applications of suspension. So, suspension is usually applicable for the drug which is insoluble or poorly soluble, like the prednisolone suspension. The next application is to prevent degradation of the drug or to improve stability of the drug, like oxytetracycline suspension. So, these are the different examples with the application. So to mask the taste of bitter or unpleasant drug, like we can use the suspension dosage form like chloramphenicol palmitate suspension, which is useful to mask the taste of the unpleasant drug, or bitter taste of the drug can be masked by the help of formulation of suspension like the chloramphenicol palmitate suspension. Then suspension of drug can be formulated for topical applications, so which can be applied externally for topical or through the skin route like the calamine lotion. So these are the some of the applications with suitable examples are given here. Next one is the suspensions can be formulated for parenteral application in order to control rate of drug absorption, like the penicillin procaine or procaine penicillin, which can be administered through the parenteral route. So it can be formulated for the control rate of drug absorption. Then vaccines as a immunizing agent are often formulated with suspension dosage form like cholera vaccine. Then next application is X-ray contrast agent are also formulated with suspension, like the barium sulfate for examination of elementary tract. So these are the some of the applications with the suitable examples of suspensions, which is widely used in pharmaceutical products. Now, after the application, what are the different features reside in the pharmaceutical suspensions? So, the pharmaceutical suspensions having these characteristic features, or these are the features which is required in formulation of pharmaceutical suspensions. Like the suspended particles should not settle rapidly, and sediment produced must be easily resuspended by the use of moderate amount of shaking. So when we go through the suspension, it is the property or nature of the suspension. After the formulation of suspension, the suspended particles will be suspend or maybe sediment at the bottom of the container. So when we provide the gentle shaking to the suspension formulation, it must be easily resuspend, or by the use of moderate amount of shaking, the resuspension can be formulated easily. Then it should be easy to pour, yet not watery, and no grittiness should be there. Then it should have pleasant odor, color, and palatability. Then when we are using the parenteral preparations, or in case of suspension dosage form, it have good syringeability. It should be physically, chemically, and microbiologically stable. Then parenteral and ophthalmic suspension should be sterilizable because there may be risk of microbial attack and the stability will be degraded by the microbiologically. So we have to sterilize all these type of parenteral and ophthalmic type of suspensions very carefully. Now, theoretical considerations of suspension. So when we go through the theoretical consideration of suspension, we have to keep in mind very important law or equation which is known as Stokes equation. So before discussing the Stokes equation, let us see the some important parameter which is related with the theoretical consideration of suspension dosage form. So, a knowledge of the theoretic considerations pertaining to the suspension technology ultimately help the formulator to select the ingredients that are appropriate for suspension preparation, that available for milling, that is useful in mixing equipment. So, these are the different parameters which should be considered when we are using the formulation of suspension. Some theoretical considerations are like particle size control, wetting, sedimentation, Brownian movement, electrokinetic phenomena, and then aggregation of suspended particles. So these are the different parameters which affects the rate of sedimentation, velocity of sedimentation, and they also affect the stability of suspension. So either it may be particle size or maybe weighting of the solid particles or sedimentation process or Brownian movement or maybe electrokinetic motion or aggregation of the suspended particle. These parameters should be carefully considered. Now let us see one by one. In short, one is the particle size control. So particle size of any suspension is critical and must be reduced within the range. As the particle size is reduced, there will be increase in the surface area and many of the properties which are directly related with the surface area like absorption, then dissolution, then solubility, and ultimately bioavailability. So too large or too small particles should be avoided. Why it should be avoided? So the reason is given here. The larger particles will settle faster at the bottom of the container. So the sedimentation process or settling will be easily done by the help of larger particles. Then particles greater than 5 micrometer impart a gritty texture to the product and also cause irritation if injected or instilled to the eye. So it should be very carefully used or particle size should be reduced in case of ophthalmic suspensions. When the particles having greater than 25 micrometer in size, it may also block the needle. So larger particles and too small particles should be avoided when we are using the formulation of suspension. Too fine particles will easily form hard cake at the bottom of the container. So these are the different limitations of larger particles as well as the too small particle, and both of the particles should be avoided. We have to control the particle size. Then weighting of the particles. So hydrophilic materials like talcum powder, zinc oxide, magnesium carbonate are easily weighted by the water, while hydrophobic materials like sulfur, charcoal are not due to the layer of adsorbed air on the surface. So the particles, even high density, float on the surface of the liquid until the layer of air is displaced completely. So the use of wetting agent allows removing this air from the surface and to easy penetration of the vehicle into the pores. So however, hydrophobic materials are easily wetted by the non-polar liquids. So wetting of the particle should be carefully studied before the formulation of the suspension. Now, when we go through the theory of sedimentation, so sedimentation means the settle down of the particles or settling of the particles or floccules. which occur under the gravitational force in liquid dosage form. So after the formulation of suspension, it is the nature of the suspension that the suspended particles will be settled down at the container of the suspension. So sedimentation is defined as or it is the meaning of settling of particles or floccules which may occur under the gravitational force in different liquid dosage form, and it can be easily explained by the Stokes equation. So velocity of sedimentation can be expressed by the Stokes equation, and the Stokes equation is given here. B sedimentation is equal to d square rho s minus rho 0 multiplied with g divided by 18 eta 0. And when we convert this diameter into radius, then it will be the 2r square rho s minus rho 0 g divided by 9 eta 0, where d is the diameter of the particle, r is the radius of particle, v sedimentation is the velocity of sedimentation, which can be expressed in centimeter per second, and rho s is the density of dispersed phase, rho 0 is the density of dispersion medium, g is the acceleration due to gravity, and eta 0 is the viscosity of dispersion medium, which can be expressed in poise or centipoise. So with the help of this Stokes equation, we can explain the different factors which affects the velocity of sedimentation or rate of sedimentation, like the diameter of the particles or particle size. It is directly proportional to the velocity of sedimentation, and when we increase the d or r, this diameter of particles or radius of particle is increasing, ultimately the velocity of sedimentation will also increase. Similarly, the another factor is density difference between the dispersed phase and dispersion media. So if the density difference between dispersed phase and dispersion medium is higher, then automatically velocity of sedimentation will be more. And the eta 0, which is the viscosity of the dispersion medium, is inversely proportional to the velocity of sedimentation. So if the viscosity is enhanced or increased, then the velocity of sedimentation will decrease. So by the help of these parameters, we can easily explain the factors affecting velocity of sedimentation or factors affecting rate of sedimentation. So this is very, very important. Stokes equation should be always keep in mind when we are studying about the pharmaceutical suspension. Now, limitations of Stokes equation. So Stokes equation applies only to spherical particles in a very dilute suspension like 0.5 to 2 gram per 100 ml. Particles which freely settle without collision. And it is also applicable for particles with no physical or chemical attraction. And if vice versa occur, there may be wrong results, or maybe results may be different from the which is occur maybe from the Stokes equation. Now, when we go through the sedimentation parameters, so sedimentation parameters which are very helpful to evaluate the particular type of suspension. So first parameter is sedimentation volume, which is denoted by capital F or height h for the flocculated suspension. So sedimentation volume is a ratio of the ultimate volume of sediment, which is expressed by Vu, to the original volume of suspension, which can be denoted by Vo. So before settling. So the ratio can be mathematically expressed like F equal to Vu by Vo, where Vu is the ultimate volume of sediment and Vo is the original volume of suspension. So by the help of F value, we can calculate the sedimentation volume, and because it is a ratio, so there is no physical unit regarding the sedimentation volume. Sedimentation volume F has values ranging from less than 1 to greater than 1. And if the F value is less than 1, then Vu will be less than Vo. And when the F value is 1, the sedimentation volume is 1, it is the case or condition of the ideal suspension. where the ultimate volume of sediment will be equal to the original volume of suspension before settling. The system is in flocculated equilibrium and show no clear supernatant or standing. And in next case, when the F value is greater than 1, then VU will be greater than VO. Then the sediment volume is greater than the original volume due to the network of clogs formed in the suspension, and so loose and fluffy sediment can be seen. So these are the different cases where the F value varies from 1 to less than 1 or greater than 1. Sedimentation volume gives only a qualitative account of the flocculation. So you can see in this diagram, suspensions quantified by the help of sedimentation volume. So F value is less than 1. A diagram number A. Diagram number B, it is equal to 1 where the VU equal to VO, and third diagram where the sedimentation volume exceeds the volume of sediment, therefore extra vehicle should be added. Next sedimentation parameter is the degree of flocculation. So what is degree of flocculation? It is the ratio of the sedimentation volume of the flocculated suspension F to the sedimentation volume of the deflocculated suspension F infinity. It can be expressed by the beta. So beta will be equal to F by F infinity. And when we go through the sedimentation volumes equation, we can replace this value here, beta equal to VU by VO in flocculated condition, VU by VO in deflocculated condition. So it is the ratio of the sedimentation volume of the flocculated suspension to the sedimentation volume of the deflocculated suspension, which is expressed by beta. The minimum value of beta is 1 when flocculated suspension sedimentation volume is equal to the sedimentation volume of deflocculated suspension. Now the Brownian movement or drunken walk. So it is also known as random movement or zigzag movement, where the Brownian movement of particles prevent the sedimentation by keeping the dispersed material in random motion. Brownian movement depends on the density of dispersed phase and the density and viscosity of the dispersion medium. The kinetic bombardment of the particles by the molecules of the suspending medium will keep the particles suspending provided that their size is below critical radius, which is represented by R. So it can be observed the particle size is about 2 to 5 millimeter, or when the density of particles and viscosity of medium are favorable. So you can see here, this is the zigzag movement where the particles can collide to each other. And it can be expressed by the equation di square equal to rt small t divided by n3 pi eta r, where r is the gas constant, t is the temperature in degree Kelvin, n is the Avogadro's number, eta is the viscosity of dispersion medium, t is the time, r is the radius of suspended particle. Then when we go through the electrokinetic properties of the suspension, very important property is known as zeta potential. Zeta potential is defined as the difference in potential difference between the surface of tightly bound layer, which is known as shear plane, and the electron-neutral region of the solution. You can see here there are two types of layer: tightly bound layer and diffuse layer, where the electrical double layer is formed by the both of the layer, tightly bound layer and diffusion layer, and there is a potential which is occur on the surface of this system is of the tightly bound layer and the electron neutral region of the solution, and the difference in potential in both of the region is defined as zeta potential. Zeta potential governs the degree of repulsion. So as the potential drops rapidly at first, followed by more gradual decrease as the distance from the surface increases. You can see the graph also where the potential is plotted with the help with the distance. So this is because the counter ions close to the surface act as a screen that reduce the electrostatic attraction between the charged surface and those counter ions further away from the surface. So zeta potential has practical application in stability of systems containing dispersed particles. It governs the degree of repulsion. So since this potential rather than the nest potential governs the degree of repulsion between the adjacent similarly charged dispersed particles. If the zeta potential value is reduced below a certain value, the attractive force exceeds the repulsive force and the particles come together and make the loose aggregation which is bonded with the weak physical force like van der Waals force. And this phenomena is known as flocculation. Flocculated suspensions are more stable than other type of suspension. So it has practical application in stability of suspensions. The flocculated suspension in one in which the zeta potential of particle is -20 to +20 millivolt. Thus, the phenomena of flocculation and deflocculation depends on the zeta potential carried by the suspended particles. When we go through the deflocculation and flocculation, in flocculated suspension, as we discussed, the flocculated suspension form the flocks, which is known as loose aggregates, will cause increase in sedimentation rate, but due to increase in size of sedimenting particles. So flocculated suspension sediment more rapidly. Is the sedimentation depends not only the size of the flocks but also on the porosity of flows. So the pores are present in the loose aggregation of these flocculated particles. In deflocculated suspension, individual particles are settling, so rate of sedimentation is slow, which prevents entrapping of liquid medium, which makes it difficult to redisperse by agitation. This phenomena is called as formation of cake, or known as caking or claying. In deflocculated suspension, larger particles settle fast, a smaller remains in supernatant liquid, so supernatant liquid appears cloudy in nature. Now, the interfacial properties of suspended particle. So, most suspending agent perform two functions besides acting as a suspending agent. They also impart viscosity to the solution. So, suspending agents form film around the particle and decrease the interparticle attraction. A good suspension should have well-developed thixotropy. What is thixotropy? The gel-sol-gel system, where the system showing gelling state in resting condition. When we apply the shear stress, it will convert into sol state, and again it will be converted into the gel state. But conversion to sol to gel will be comparatively isothermal and slow recovery process. So a good suspension should have well-developed thixotropy. It is widely useful in depot preparations like procaine, penicillin, intramuscular injection. At rest, the solution is sufficient viscous to prevent sedimentation and thus aggregation or taking of the particles. So when agitation is applied or when shaking is applied, the viscosity is reduced and it provides good flow characteristic from the mouth of the bottle. So it will easily administer, and after administration, again it will convert into the gelling state, and there will be the slow or controlled release of the drug from the particular dosage form can be seen. So this is all about the introduction of suspended particles. So these are the different references. So in our first part of today's course discussion, we discussed about the suspensions, its classification, what are the theoretical considerations behind the formulation of suspensions, factors affecting the rate of sedimentation, and then we discussed about the interfacial properties which are related with the suspension. So these are the references. Please go through these references and find out more material regarding the suspension. Now in quiz section, there are some of the questions which are based on today's lecture. Question number 1, like the suspended particles become flocculated in a suspension because particles are closely packed, attractive forces between particles are appreciable, repulsive forces between particles are appreciable, or vehicle rejects the particle. So we have to give a suitable answer for this question as we discussed in our today's chapter. Then due to Brownian movement of particles, sedimentation, A option is assist, B is promote, C is prevent, D is increase. So what is the effect of Brownian movement of sedimentation of particles? Please go through the chapter and find out the correct answer. Next one is the Stokes law. Rate of sedimentation is inversely proportional to A is density of particle, B is the viscosity of medium, C is the radius of particle, and D is the experimental constant. So when we go through the Stokes equation, we can find the rate of sedimentation is inversely proportional to which option. The next question is the in the formulation development of suspension, which type of diameter is important? A is sieve, B is stock, C is projected, and D is the length number diameter. So please correct the suitable option for this question. Next one is the while using sedimentation method for size analysis, addition of a deflocculating agent to a suspension is necessary in order to A option is accelerate the process of sedimentation, B make the particles spherical, C is the prevent the aggregation, or D is the satisfy Reynolds number. So please go through the size analysis method, which is widely discussed in micromagnetics. It will be corrected with the help of suspension. So please find the correct answer for it. Then wetting agents are the substances that make the interfacial tension and contact angle between the solid particles and individual vehicle will increase, lower, opposite, or budget. So we discussed about the wetting agents, which are surface active agents in nature. So find out the correct option for this question. Next one is the wetting ability of vehicle is detected by observing A is the angle of report, B is the contact angle, C is the critical angle, and D is the not by any angle. So wetting ability of vehicle is detected by observing which type of option. Please correct the suitable answer here. Then next one is the structured vehicle is included in the formulation of a suspension in order to A option is prevent sedimentation, B is the decrease interfacial tension, C is the prevent cake formation, or D is the promote sedimentation. Please correct the suitable option. Next one is the sedimentation volume of ideal suspension should be sedimentation volume, which is expressed in F value, which is the ratio of VU by VU, ultimate volume of sediment divided by original volume of suspension. So what will be the ideal suspension sedimentation volume? As we discussed in our today's topic, please go through it and find out the correct option for this question. So this is all about our today's class. Please go through the reading material and find out the answers of questions. Okay, thank you.